Everybody, what is going on? I thought I'd just spring it on you guys tonight and see what happens, see who shows. I was thinking about it all day and like, should I not? And again, I'm just on here to show some love and support for all of you guys. If you guys have any questions that you want to have answered, I thought I'd come in. But I did get a lot of interesting questions regarding the Soul Trap video that I just did. Um, and I thought that was a good video. It was requested heavily, by several people about reincarnation. Are we stuck here? Are we forever going to incarnate? And I thought it was just a good topic to be discussed. And I'll delve a little deeper into that. And if you guys have any questions that you want answered, um, throw them down in the chat, and I'll get there. Hey Mandy, good evening, how are you? Hi, how you guys doing? Thanks for coming in. I mean, I literally just got on, but it's good to see you all. So let's talk about the soul trap. It's not a trap. It is simply, you are going to finish what you started, right? All of us that are here on this planet right now in this physical realm, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So all of us that are here stood before God, your Father, right? And this is where our fear and everything else came from. The ego, guilt, being ashamed came from. When we wanted to call the shots, this is what happened, But we weren't abandoned. Like I said, with our sexual energy and our guidance system, Father just did not abandon us here and kick us to the curb. Say, okay, these are two ways home. This is a way that you will always point north or home to me through our sexual energy and through our guidance system. But in that same aspect, God gave us free will and said, okay, you're going to do this, that's fine, but you're going to finish what you started. All right? You're going to finish it. And, people think that it's just going to happen in one lifetime. That's not the case. As I told you when I had my second out-of-body experience, I've died over 3,200 times. But we have been doing this, ladies and gentlemen, for billions of years. All right? And when we get done with an incarnation, it is very hard on us, right? So when we transition back home, we take a lot of time off. And, well, what's a lot of time? Because time doesn't exist when we're there. Just say 2 to 3 centuries. So it could be anywhere from 5 to 10,000 years, Earth years, right? Or, I mean, not Earth years, but home, right? When in reality, it may be only 70 to 100 years on a physical plane down here, all right? We take a lot of time off because it's very hard. But if you take too much time off, Father will find you. God will find you no matter what dimension you're in, who you're with, where you are, and he will say it's time, right? It is time to incarnate again into, your next incarnation, which will be, it's not in linear form. So your next incarnation is going to be what we would call the past, right? You're going to go back and start to clear up some of the things you did not finish. So one of the things I wish I would have talked about in this latest video is the ripple effect, right? What is the ripple effect, Jason? The ripple effect is love and how much you love and forgive unconditionally. So when you love, you raise your vibration. You live in what you were created out of, which is love, right? And that has massive consequences that go unseen for all of you. Meaning that love that I have for all of you, when I am doing this, when I'm thinking about all of you during the day and like, how can I connect with you guys and things like that. I love you more than you could ever possibly know. And that love, when I'm helping you and helping others, that goes out into the non-physical or the universe, right? That love, that is what makes the universe grow. The universe is alive, ladies and gentlemen. I need you to understand that. It's just not dead space out there. The universe is alive. Well, what does alive mean, Jason? Well, it's transitioning into the ripple effect even more, right? The universe is consciously aware of itself, okay? Meaning it's thinking, it's alive. And make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, the universe is consciously aware of you and where you are without question or doubt. The universe knows exactly who you are and where you are and what you are doing. And that, so when your love goes out into the universe, when you love your children, when you have empathy for someone who got hurt, that love goes out into the non-physical, the universe. That is what makes the universe grow. That is how we are creating the universe, through love. When new stars form, right? That's our love that the star is feeding off of. So what I mean by that, that's part of the ripple effect. So when you're sending out that positive energy to the universe, it is also affecting all of your past lives, right? So it is clearing up a lot of the negative crap that you left without forgiving somebody, without loving somebody, without, or doing whatever, right? You are clearing up your past lives. It's the ripple effect. It is trickling down into all of your other lives, which are taking place right now. And that's something I wish I would have discussed in my video. And that's part of what I wanted to come on here tonight to discuss, was how important it is for all of you to love unconditionally. I don't care. I know it sounds bad when I say I don't care, but how badly someone hurts you, love them and forgive them. It is hard, ladies and gentlemen. I will not disagree with you on it. It is the hardest thing in the world you will ever have to do, is to forgive that person who has hurt you so deeply and profoundly. You have to remember that that person is you. It's one of your besties, or could possibly be a soulmate. Remember, you all chose to forget. So if you chose to forget, that means you don't remember who you asked to do things for you. Remember, this is one gigantic play. We're all role playing for one another. Like if you have a husband and a wife, right? And she role plays for you and she puts on a naughty outfit, right? It's no different in this realm. When we ask somebody to do something for us, we have just forgotten. Otherwise, we wouldn't go through with what we wanted to come down here and experience and grow from, right? So that's what I mean by the ripple effect. And God knows, Lord knows how much I'm affecting all of my other lives, which in essence could shorten your incarnations, right? Because when you jump into that past life, if you've cleared a bunch of stuff up, it's not going to be as hard on you. So what you do here, ladies and gentlemen, matters immensely, immensely. So love one another as I love all of you. Like I said in all of my videos, I don't have to do this. I know the secrets. I know what I have to do. I know why I'm here and what I came here to do. I could sit here on my butt, meditate, and just do all of this for me, but I came here to teach all of you. It is clear as day when I came back what my job was when I came here. And those signs were given to me throughout my life when I told all of you, when I aired my dirty laundry on who I was as a being, when I was a teenager and, I wasn't the nice guy, and, but throughout that timeline, throughout all of it, I was told I should become a teacher because I'm just naturally good at it, even though I didn't want to and still had no desire to do so. It was given to me constantly, Jason, this is what you need to do. This is what you came here to do. Well, here I am 40 years later doing exactly that, right? But it took my death to get me back on track. But you know, that's the way it played out. If I reached mile marker C and I hadn't done what I came here to do, then that's what I had created, my death, to get me back on track. And it worked brilliantly. Brilliantly. So, but that's what I mean by the ripple effect. And I know all of you listening or that have been listening to my videos, you're stuck just like I was. You know, you're holding on to the pain. You're labeling a certain situation that you wanted to go through as good or bad, right or wrong, or evil, right? Evil does not exist. And anybody that says, well, evil does exist, look at these school shootings, look at the beheading of the babies in these wars. As horrible as it is, I do not judge anybody in these wars. I will not. I do not have the right to tell a being that came here to experience a physical life how they choose to exit this world. All of us chose our deaths. We just haven't caught up to it yet. I have no business telling somebody how they get to leave this world. It's wrong. Oh, I don't want to use wrong, but I don't have that right to judge. All right. We planned who we came into this world with. Our parents are the region of, you know, in the world where we were going to be born into to experience what we needed to experience. And the same thing goes for our departure. So when you see these school shootings or the beheading of these babies, those beings knew what they were getting into. They chose it. They chose to be born to those parents in that timeline, in that specific area. Okay? Now, to all of us, it's horrifying, right? To watch these wars, to watch these soldiers die, to watch these babies being killed. They knew what they were getting into, as horrific as it is. We do not have the right to judge. So anybody that says evil exists doesn't know God. God does not create evil. Evil and cruelty is a gift humanity gave itself through free will. Nothing more. Nothing more. So we have to look at those experiences as simply experiences, guys. Nothing more. And that's what I wanted to come up here to clarify about the ripple effect of how important it is to love and forgive. And Jesus specified it when he was here 2 millennia ago. Love one another, forgive one another. Why? Because that person is you, right? If we are all one, we're all connected to source and our source. That means that person is you. You've just asked them to do this for you. Like, when I forgave everybody, you know, that including my parents, I had to go back and relive the abuse and trauma. As I sat here on this couch sobbing uncontrollably for hours, I had to forgive my parents, and I had to forgive everyone. And in the same aspect, even though they're not in front of me, I asked for forgiveness from all of them. And I felt Father come in, or the non-physical, and take that dark energy from me. It was removed. And that's what I mean by you guys having to do the work. It's vitally important. You will keep incarnating and reliving these moments over and over and over again until you get it. And that's what I want you guys to understand, that how important it is to love and forgive. And again, I said it, it will be the hardest thing you guys ever have to do, to relive it. If somebody in here was molested, or somebody, you know, female vehicle in here was brutally beaten and raped, you have to go back into that moment and forgive that person unconditionally. Why is a let me see that. I got to put my glasses on. Why is it a parasite planet where life feeds on other life? Well, it's because we're still a primitive planet. I mean, a primitive species, guys. I mean, you look at your iPhones, right? And You know, you think we're this advanced species. I'm sorry, guys, but Star Wars and Star Trek exists. All right. There is interdimensional travel through gravity drives. All right. We are not high up on the totem pole as far as advanced species go. We're getting there. We're transitioning into a higher realm and moving into a higher dimension. We are becoming more intelligent, but all other, like the Anunnaki, the Pleiadians, they all went through this. So when they're asked, where do you come from? What do you eat for nourishment? They always ask, do you eat something that was once alive? And they will tell you that's very primitive, because we all have to start somewhere. There are other, in our, just say the Milky Way galaxy, all right, there are hundreds of thousands of civilizations taking place, some of which haven't even invented the wheel or fire yet, guys. Okay. And they're getting they're getting their nourishment from something that was once alive, whether it's a vegetable, a fruit, an animal, it doesn't matter. We all have to rise and climb up the ladder. Do I think it's barbaric? I do. I hate it, especially knowing where I came from and who I am, that something has to die for my nourishment. It sucks. I hate it. Same thing when you pull a peach off a tree. You've just killed that being. But until we rise in higher and higher up there, the more and more our nourishment is going to come from the non-physical, meaning home. Okay. And at one point, we will no longer eat anything that was once alive. I agree, it's barbaric. I cannot stand it. When I go grocery shopping, I'm like, well, all of this was once alive. Well, you know, like the way we have to relieve ourselves as a species. It's gross. But, you know, this is where we are in where this species is. Remember, we're not human beings, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? We're not. We never have been and we never will. We are advancing this species into a higher form of consciousness and interdimensional, as the earth is traveling into a different dimension. We are too. That's why our bodies are changing right now on a DNA level, a cellular level. They're being transformed into a crystalline body so we can receive that higher light and those higher energy vibrations. And that's why some of you are experiencing some of those ascension symptoms that I talked about in one of my videos. I'm still having severe back pain. So I know I'm still getting bombarded with higher energy, light. But I heard someone talking the other day about the Galactic Council. I've heard about it, and we're being watched, ladies and gentlemen. The Pleiadians, and there are I think there's 7 humanoid species out there that we've created. Remember, we've created all of this. Okay, we just can't remember it at the moment. So, but we're being watched and we're being cheered on. All right, and all of those higher civilizations, like I said, the Pleiadians, the Anunnaki, they all went through the wars. They went through everything we're going through, and they said, no more, we're done. No, we're all the same, we're all equal, and they've begun to live in peace, and they have advanced rapidly into higher realms, higher dimensions. And that's why I did the video when I talked about World War III, and I don't want to get into it too much, but it's coming, ladies and gentlemen. If we don't stop and love one another, within 10 years, the war will start. It will last 7 years. And after that 7 years, we will have decimated the planet to the point of where there is no more drinking water, or very little of it, and very, very little inhabitable food to eat, which means in the next 30 to 40 years after is when 7 billion people are going to die, right? They're going to be wiped right off the planet. All of us, or almost all of us, about 900 million to a billion worldwide, will survive. But those beings will be of a high vibrational energy, right? And they will know that this war, this killing is done. We're all equals. we will come into the new world as equals. It will be an egalitarian society. No one is greater or lesser than anybody else. And what's left after we're all gone? The technology. AI is going to advance them into unbelievable places. They will be a highly advanced civilization when the new earth comes in 50 years. When, or we can enter the new world peacefully. Granted, all of us still cannot be here because of the abuse that we have all gone through, the victimization, the indoctrination from the church and from the society that we live in. And I talked about our sexual energy, right? You all got shamed into compliance and yelled at for touching yourself, right? For masturbating, even though it is God-given, and we've talked about it, that it was perfectly natural and normal. Remember, those beings, even though the body is new, what's inside the body is not, right? It's a highly advanced multidimensional being, no different than me and you. They just created a new body, and they've also chosen to forget. So they're exploring their situation. They're exploring their bodies. It's natural. Thank you. Let's see what you got here. Brendan. How much love to you, Andrew? Thank you. What do I do if I struggle to forgive myself and others, and how to deal with the guilt if God is already? Well, that starts with you, buddy. So, do you love yourself? It starts right there. If you don't love yourself, that's where you got to start. I love myself. I come first. All right. And the first thing I had to do was surrender and forgive myself, was the next thing after loving myself. I had to forgive myself for living in darkness for 50 years, for living in the pain and the suffering. I chose the darkness. I chose the pain. I chose the hate. God didn't make me do that. I did through my own free will. And that was where the guilt came from, right? And that goes back to stepping away from oneness. So when I had to forgive others, I just looked at them and I saw my face. Right. So a good thing for you to try and do is, when you're emotional and you're struggling and you look in the mirror, you may cry, and that's good because you're feeling your emotions. That means you're aligned with your guidance system. And then look at them and relive those moments that hurt you so deeply and forgive them. But look at your face and say, I forgive you. I love you. I am sorry that I've held on to that abuse. That's where it really starts. It has to start with you. You have to love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, you're stuck. That's the only way that you're going to move forward, right? You have to. Otherwise, if you don't during this incarnation, you go home. At some point in time, you will be back in this incarnation and you will be faced with those same challenges, except those challenges will be 10 times harder. And each time you have to come back into that incarnation, they will keep adding the pressure to it until you do. And that's why I encourage all of you to meditate, find yourself, to love yourself, because I love you. You are all beautiful. All right? Every single one of you are beautiful. You have done nothing wrong. Nothing. And you are worthy of the greatest love. And you are that greatest love. All right? So forgive them. Remember what Jesus said, even though he wasn't on the cross, he was saying that from above. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, because we have forgotten who we are. And he said it. In the mirror. Yeah. Look at yourself and say you found a person that has hurt you, right? And a male or female, right? Don't look at them as a male or female. Look at them as yourself. I love you too, hon. Look at them as yourself and then forgive them. Say they divorced you, or even though an affair is nothing, but it hurts you. Look at them, but see your face looking back at you, not necessarily as a mirror, but as them, and forgive them and love them and just say, hey, I love you. I forgive you. I truly forgive you. I wish you the best of luck, and then move on. Oh, you're welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. See that banner down there, guys? If you copy and paste that and put it into your browser, you guys, if you want a one-on-one, you can come into the studio for a little bit. That's why I put it down there. If you don't, that's fine. But put your questions down there, because this was just going to be a quick one tonight. I just wanted to put myself out there and say I love you guys. I want to try and get to it at least a couple times a month, but the last couple of weeks have been brutally hard on me. I've been so tired. And I've just been sleeping on the weekends. So, but if you want that, copy that into your browser, put that in there, and I'll let you into the studio, and you can ask and be a part of me if you so choose. If not, that's fine. But let's talk about your sexual energy. All right. You were all shamed and you feel guilty, and that's why you all run and hide in your rooms, right? And you shut and lock the door. Why? I'm going to ask you one very important question before I get into this, because this comes directly from Father, from God. All right? I know there's both male vehicles and female vehicles in here. Why are you wearing clothes? God wants to know. Why are you wearing clothes? Comes directly from him. It's an irritant. Anybody got any question, an answer? Put it in the comments. I'm curious to know what you guys think, because God wants to know why you're wearing clothes. Absolutely. Shame. You are ashamed of yourself. That's funny, but no, that's it. You're ashamed of yourself. Where does that stem from? Beautiful. But generally, for most, if you were to go out in public, you're putting on clothes. Why? You're ashamed of yourself. I mean, I'm not anymore. I'm beautiful. I love myself. But that's basically it. We're ashamed of ourselves. And that is why you run and hide if somebody's home, right? Or whatever. And you shut and lock that door, and your Father wants to know why. What are you ashamed of? I gave it to you. It's yours. And your upbringing. That is exactly it. You were shamed into compliance. You were yelled at. Quit touching yourself. Go into your room. And you're startled, right? And then, if you're doing it again a few days later, and then you get this, you're shamed into compliance. Your upbringing. Absolutely. You were shamed to feel ugly. And then the church compounded by saying that sex is a sin. So, but when you say men will attack you, that's living in fear, right? Who wants to live in fear, hon? If you believe in fear, which is an illusion, right? Fear doesn't exist. You're creating that, right? Good. Don't. Things have got to change. And then these are some of the things that I'm talking about. These need to be addressed. It's important. They've been pushed under the rug for millennia. A female vehicle and a male vehicle should be able to walk out in public and feel completely at ease, period, and not be ashamed of who they are, or fear that somebody's going to come up and grab them or whatever. And I'm not just talking the female vehicles, I'm talking the male vehicles as well, okay? That's a fear-based thing. And we've created a horrific society that says you walk out in public naked, you're going to jail. Oh, please. That's when I told you that Father does not listen or abide by any of these horrific laws that we created here. He does not. And I don't like using the word he, but I all told you why. And to me, he's a father figure, even though we are simply consciousness. But in the moment of my transitioning home, I felt like I was his one and only son. The love bestowed upon me, he will always be my father. Jesus called him father too, so I get it. But God does not hold us accountable to any of these horrific laws that we have created here to subjugate ourselves to in any way, shape, or form. Does not. And that is why you are not judged on anything you have done. We are so lost and wandering around in the dark. I'm surprised any of us can get up and put our pants on in the morning. So that's good. Good. We should all be able to walk around without any shame or guilt about who we are. All of us in the male vehicles chose the male vehicles because that's what we needed to incarnate into, to finish to get done what we needed to do. Nothing more. To the female vehicles out there, you did the same. Your ego created a female body because that's what it needed to accomplish what you needed to accomplish. Nothing more. Yes, you are. And my twin is about 7 miles down the road, and she's struggling big time right now. And I've asked several times if I'm getting back with my soulmate, which is my current ex-wife, or if I'm going to be with my twin. And both times, 4 times actually, 2 times, her name was actually spelled out. Boom, right there. And then 2 times the letters and her initials were right there. So it's just a matter of time. More than likely by the end of the year, we will be reunited, whether she is still married or not. God doesn't care. God does not acknowledge your marriage, nor does he care about it. So neither does the non-physical. And God does not care about your religion or any religion down here. It's oppressive. It keeps us separated. And, when I left religion, when I left Catholicism, I was free. I was free, and I have a beautiful connection with God, my Father. I have a beautiful connection with the non-physical, and all of you know my meetings with my angels, my guides all the time here in the physical. So I'm deeply spiritual. I connect to my Father every day, twice a day, and I'm having conversations with him 3 or 4 times a day. Good for you. Well done. There's nothing like a twin flame love, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is a love that is indescribable. A soulmate is not the same as a twin flame. You are absolutely correct. A soulmate is someone like a bestie. They come into your life, and it could be for a few moments, a few months, or a few seconds. You meet, you do your thing, and that's over. But a twin flame is simply, you have the left side of your brain, which is your divine masculine, and the right side is your divine feminine. For me, my twin flame is my divine feminine. She is part of my consciousness. And that is why when we are together, it feels like this. And I am her divine masculine, right? So we were split into 2, and we will forever find each other. No matter what incarnation we get into, we will find one another. It is a fact. And when we join, it is basically becoming, I hate using this term, but one soul again. We become one, a twin. She is my twin. She is like looking in the mirror. She's my divine feminine. So it's a love that only another twin flame can understand. It is so deep and so profound and so personal. It's you, basically, so. Beautiful. Good for you, girl. Good for you. Good for you. I love that you know who. So he is my twin flame. Could be. You'll know when you find it, because it'll be a love that just, it's so profound and so deep that it's very hard to describe. I didn't know what it was until after I came out of my near-death experience and realized, because she was the one that I was begging God, if you go back and listen to my NDE, please don't take her from me. Please let me hold her hand. Let me make love. Let me smell her breath. That is when my NDE took place. But that was my twin flame. So when that took place, it was me describing basically myself. And that's when it became very apparent that we will be together again. Not only because that's when my NDE took place, but I've asked several times and her name has been spelled out. So it's just a matter of time. You know, what other questions you got for me? We got about 15 minutes, about 10 minutes. No, there's nothing that can even come close to that love. It is an instant connection. You get very emotional. It's such a profound love. That's it, right? I mean, that is exactly what your twin is. They are the opposite, divine feminine over here. I mean, masculine and feminine. So it's basically you are reuniting with a part of your own consciousness. Basically, that's why it feels so amazing, because you're becoming whole. You're the mirror. And, even when you're at home, that is, you two are inseparable. You create your lives around one another, and then you'll say, well, we'll meet. And it doesn't matter. That's why it didn't matter whether when we met, we were both married and we had the most, what you would call it here on earth, is an affair. It was beautiful. It was pure. And Father was loving every single minute of it. And that was when I knew that I had done nothing wrong, nothing. And I had to quit judging myself. And that's where the forgiveness came in. I had to forgive myself for feeling that way, the guilt, the shame, because that's what society bestowed on us by these stupid laws that we have brought into existence that are just horrific in every way. So is the earth flat? No, it's a hologram. The whole universe is a hologram. All of this is. It's like the movie, if you watch Keanu Reeves in The Matrix, when he pops in and you see all the green lines and stuff, that's exactly how the non-physical sees all this. Like The Matrix. That's it. They just see little green lines in, all of this. It's not real. So no, the earth isn't flat. Everything you see on a daily basis is what you are projecting out through your beliefs. So this is all a simulation. It's not real. It's you are using your creative abilities as a god to create all of this. That is the grand illusion, everyone. We came here to find ourselves. It's like playing hide and seek, right? We're hiding from who we truly are, only to seek, and we shall find who we are. Well, that's what happened in my near-death experience. I found out who I was instantly. It all became crystal clear. That's right. You can change your physical reality. Absolutely. Remember what I said. Your thoughts create your reality. If you want to live in negativity, that's all you're going to bring into yourself. Okay? You give that negativity power over you, when in fact, you are doing that to yourself. A ball. Yeah. Exactly. That's why Jesus could walk through walls. They were not real. He knew it. Somewhere in my back of my deep, deep consciousness, I feel that this table is real. Therefore, I can't put my hand through it still. I can't put my hand through my body. Jesus could do that. He mastered the body. You're still at home. All of us are still at home with God, with Father, in our own little places, our own little homes. We're just simply dreaming. We're sleeping. Your higher self talks to you all the time. It's called your intuition and your feelings. That's how God talks to you. He's not going to, unless it's absolute last resort, like he did with me when he said, why not? You are my son, right? But he talks to you through your feelings and your emotions. Your higher self does that. So say you're going out to a party with some friends and all of a sudden you're getting ready to walk out the door, right? And all of a sudden you reach for the door and you got this sick feeling in your gut, right? That's your higher self saying, don't go. Something bad is going to happen. Listen to that. I don't care who you're going to go see. They're telling you to stay home. You don't need to go out, but you've all learned to boo-poo it and push it off like, oh, that's just me being silly. It's not. That's your higher self communicating with your avatar. We're not allowed to be interfered with, guys. Okay, there's no aliens or hybrids here. There's angels walk among us. Okay, but we're not allowed to be interfered with. And say we had the technology to get in and go to another planet, right? We're not allowed to interfere with a lower on the totem pole species. We cannot. That's why that's why the distance between inhabitable planets is so far. We're not allowed to interfere with one another. Now, if a higher dimensional being meets with another higher dimensional being, that's fine. They can chat and have a good time. But for a higher dimensional being to come down into us is not allowed. God will not allow that to happen. Are we being watched? Yes. We are not allowed to be interfered with. There is no hybrid crap. There's no nothing. It's simply us transitioning into a more advanced suit, and we're traveling into another higher dimension. That's why you hear the 5D consciousness come from. So we're not allowed to be interfered with, guys, at all. That's correct. We're just moving into a much higher and freer state of consciousness, and that state of consciousness is in a higher dimension. We're going up a couple notches up the ladder, which is good, but we need to, when we get there, we need to do it with dignity and grace. We don't need to start World War III and have a mass extinction that way. I mean, we're all going to be removed from this earth because of the abuse that we went through. Like I said earlier, we are not allowed into the golden age because of the indoctrination from the church, from when I told you you were abused as a kid, right? From your sexual energy and being forced to go to school and being shamed into compliance. We've been abused. You all know it. You can remember it, right? When you were crying in school, you were shamed into compliance, told to shut up, told you, that your feelings didn't matter, so on and so forth. So we cannot be there because of that. Those beings that are left after we all transition won't have that abuse, won't have that indoctrination. That church won't be there. Governments won't be there. It'll just be love. And that's a beautiful thing. It truly, truly is a beautiful thing. A couple more questions. We got about 4 or 5 minutes. And by the way, if I haven't said enough, I love all of you so very much. I like just popping this on you guys to see if you guys will pop on and look at you guys. It's beautiful. They're not, Bud. You know what those are, don't you? Those are simply near-death experiences. They just don't know it. Or they're out-of-body experiences, right? Or lucid dreaming, when you actually leave your body and you go out into the non-physical, okay? Which we do every night, by the way. Okay? Ghosts are simply you being in tune. Your frequency is matching that of the non-physical, right? Remember, the non-physical is all around us. Your family, your friends, your children who have passed on or moved on are sitting right next to you. They're right next to you. They're just in a different dimension. So if you're in love and you have raised your vibration, you may see an orb, you may see an apparition walk by that is simply you're in tune with that higher dimension at that moment in time. So it's not necessarily a ghost, it's just you have raised your vibration. I see apparitions walk by me all the time. I'll turn around and I'll see somebody, all of a sudden on the corner of my eye, half a body just go walk right through my bedroom. It happens. That's why I got to get me. I'm pretty sure. Give it time with the twin flame. But going back to those abduction testimonies, it is simply you being out of your body, or it was a near-death experience. But more than likely, it was an out-of-body experience where you went into a higher dimension. That's all. That is generally it. And generally, when those happen, they're asleep, right? But when you enter those dimensions, like when I had my out-of-body experience here, I was in another realm full of higher dimensional beings, and I was right there with my guide. So it is just simply that is taking place, or they just don't know that they had a near-death experience somehow. That's all. But we're not allowed to be interfered with, ladies and gentlemen. It is not allowed. Did you? Saw Dad, huh? That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. All right, one more question. What's we got? Let's see. I love you too, hon. Your videos. Beautiful. I am so glad. Hey, ¿cómo está? Muchas gracias. I love you. Thank you from Mexico. I'm glad I was able to help, and that's why when I came back, it was like I have to do this. It was like Father was like, come on, and I was like, nobody's going to believe me. Do you understand that? Nobody is going to believe a word. I had no idea what happened to me, none. And when I was like, people are going to think I'm nuts, but it didn't stop me. This is something that I had to do. It is just. I cannot sit here and watch all of you suffer when all of your suffering simply comes from your own thoughts. You are the creator of your world. The world you see on a daily basis are your own thoughts. So when I say you feel negativity and you feel evil creeping in, even though it's not evil, you've got to put the ego in its place. You've got to return to love and forgiveness. And it will be a constant fight throughout your entire existence until you kill the ego. The only way you're going to kill the ego is through your last incarnation, when you become enlightened. And Jesus finally killed the ego 2 weeks before his crucifixion. And that is how powerful your ego is. It does not want you to survive. It wants to continue to run the show. You have to take control of your thoughts. Your thoughts create your reality. Do you want a beautiful dream or do you want a nightmare? 1 week later, my twin was in my account. There you go. That's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, guys, one more question. I've got some things to do. I love you guys. Mexico joins me tonight. All right. Cheers to you. One more question, guys. What you got for me? If you write that there is no such thing as the devil, but that is a great way to look at it. The ego is not your friend. No. So if most of the Bible thumping Christians out there that believe that there is a heaven and hell, it is simply home. It's where we originate from. It's where we come from. It's home. The church called it heaven. Now, that is a great way to put it. The ego is the devil. The ego does not love. It attacks, condemns, and judges. That's all he does. And that is a great way to look at it, as the devil. The ego does not have your best interest in any way, shape, or form. It attacks, condemns, and judges. That's it. Susie is here. I love you too, hon. It was brought up to my whole entire life being a teacher. Wow, you should really teach. And if somebody said, Jason, by the time you're 52, you are going to be a spiritual teacher and you are going to be eventually on the world stage in front of, this, that, and your life is going to change. I would have said, you know what? You could go eat dirt. There's no way. And yet, here I am. I love you guys. I do. I love and adore you, and I want nothing but the best for you. So free your mind, guys. Free it. Live in love. And when you feel that darkness come in, say, no, not today. I love you. I love everyone. I love myself, and I am beautiful. I am perfect. I am love. And you keep that darkness out and you create a beautiful dream. Create it, because you are the creator of your world. And that goes back to what I first started talking about, the ripple effect, right? That is going to start affecting your past incarnations. It's going to start healing those, right? And you're going to start eventually to shorten your incarnations. So you are worthy. You are love. You are everything that has ever existed, and you are everything that will ever exist. You are your Father. You are the direct manifestation of God. You are perfect. Remember that. I love all of you so very much. Put some comments down there on what you want me to do the next video on. I love you guys. Have a blessed weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.